Jaden, come on.
Brian King Joseph filed the lawsuit in California earlier this week, accusing Smith of deliberately targeting him for exploitation.
This lawsuit against Diddy for what Will and Diddy did to him. With Jaden and Justin present, that tape exists.
Okay, everyone, at this point, it honestly feels like there's a new Hollywood scandal hitting the headlines every single day. Empire actor Bryshere Gray is going viral after reports surface claiming he was targeted by men in the industry. Yes, allegedly even Will Smith. And now Jaden Smith is weighing in, dropping subtle hints about his dad, and those long-rumored stories we've all been hearing for years about Will and Jada and their guidance, or manipulation of young men.
They're both bisexual, they do weird things in their house, and young men have left their house screaming to get away from them in their mentorship. Meek Mills, Bryshere Gray, left that house screaming.
It gets even creepier when you really look at how Will Smith has treated Jaden over the years. Constantly kissing him on the mouth in front of cameras, acting like it's just a joke. But if you watch closely, Jaden always looks uncomfortable every single time.
My baby boy, he's never leaving me, ever. Ever. No emancipation for the Smith kid.
Let me hide this. Come on here.
Come on.
Jaden.
Just want him to feel the affection, you know? Like,
it's true. I mean, there is a thing where I know you were like, but when
I want to kiss you and just say, Just keep a smile. Just keep a smile. Just keep a smile.
Look, I get it. Some parents act like that and can be totally innocent. But when you're doing it repeatedly in front of cameras and your kid is clearly uncomfortable, that's not okay. And let's be honest, if it were Willow and Will was forcing a kiss like that, people would absolutely lose it, and rightfully so. So why is it suddenly fine when it's Jaden just because he's a boy? What makes it even creepier is that this isn't just any father and son. It's Will Smith, a man already surrounded by all kinds of strange rumors and allegations. In fact, just weeks ago, Will was hit with a lawsuit from a male violinist who claimed Will was manipulating him and trying to pressure him into some foul behavior. Professional violinist Brian King Joseph alleged in his complaint that Will was deliberately grooming and priming him for further exploitation after he was invited to join Will's global tour based on a true story in 2025. Joseph described a traumatic series of events that allegedly took place in March 2025 during Will's tour, and claimed that he discovered someone had entered his Las Vegas hotel room and left a strange note that said, "Brian, I'll be back. Just us," with a drawn heart and signed Stone F. Joseph also alleges that this person left a bunch of bizarre items in his room, including wipes, a beer bottle, a red backpack, a bottle of HIV medication with another individual's name, an earring, and hospital discharge paperwork belonging to a person unknown to Joseph. Joseph claims he feared that this individual who entered his room would return and try to harm him. So he reported the incident to the hotel staff, a local non-emergency police line, and Will Smith's management team. But according to Joseph's complaint, a member of Will's tour management team shamed him and told him he was being terminated. And if this were the first time Will was accused of something like this, maybe people wouldn't even think twice. But that's not the case. Similar rumors about Will have been floating around for years. Remember when comedian Bryshere said that, back when he was just starting out, he got invited to an audition for a project with Will's company? Bryshere claimed Will invited him to watch a movie, but when he told his dad warned him that Will probably had other intentions.
They sit two chairs in the middle of a dance studio, two folding chairs in the middle of a dance studio, facing each other, and they're like, "We'll be in a second." I sat with the chair with my back to the door. I didn't know what door he was coming in. And he walked in behind me, and I could feel his energy. And he liked me. He was like, "Let's go see a movie." I was like, "Okay."
You guys went to a movie.
I called my dad, and I got in the car. My dad goes, "How'd it go?" It went great. He was like, "Really?" And I said, "Yeah, we're going to the movies." My dad's like, "What?" I go, "We're going to the movies." And he was like, "Want a date?" And I was like, "I don't know." I was like, "I don't know. I really didn't ask." Like, I was just needing. And he was like, "What do you mean? Like, what, you and him are going to the movies together?" I was like, "Yeah, I guess." And I was like, "It's at Planet Hollywood." And he was like, "They have a movie theater there?" I was like, Dad, I don't know. Maybe we'll go get lunch there and dinner and then we'll go to the movies. And he was like, oh, buddy, he's trying to f*** you.
Now fast forward to 2020, when YouTuber Trisha Peace came forward with allegations that Will had forced himself on her male dancers without their consent. Let me be clear, these are just allegations, but at the same time, it definitely makes you raise an eyebrow when similar accusations keep surfacing around the same person. And that brings us back to Bryshere Gray, another young man in the industry who allegedly suffered serious consequences after being mentored by Will. Bryce started out as a rapper in Philadelphia, performing at music festivals and even opening for big names like Fabulous and 2 Chainz, so he already had momentum before TV ever came into play. But 2015 was when he really struck gold, landing the breakout role of Ake Lion on Empire alongside Taraji P. Henson and Terrence Howard. That role changed Bryce's life overnight. Here's where it gets even stranger. That same year, Bryce signed a record deal with Columbia Records, and people began calling him the next young Will Smith. And wouldn't you know it, Will himself stepped in, took Bryce under his wing, and began mentoring him.
He's surrounded by a whole lot of strength. He's surrounded by a whole lot of love, and all he has to do is add discipline, and he gonna be all right.
It's like Uncle Will, you know? Who is best to give you advice? And it's Will Smith, and I'm getting so much good advice.
Now fast forward to 2020, when YouTuber Trisha Peace came forward with allegations that Will had forced himself on her male dancers without their consent. Let me be clear, these are just allegations, but at the same time, it definitely makes you raise an eyebrow when similar accusations keep surfacing around the same person. And that brings us back to Bryshere Gray, another young man in the industry who allegedly suffered serious consequences after being mentored by Will. Bryce started out as a rapper in Philadelphia, performing at music festivals and even opening for big names like Fabulous and 2 Chainz, so he already had momentum before TV ever came into play. But 2015 was when he really struck gold, landing the breakout role of Ake Lion on Empire alongside Taraji P. Henson and Terrence Howard. That role changed Bryce's life overnight. Here's where it gets even stranger. That same year, Bryce signed a record deal with Columbia Records, and people began calling him the next young Will Smith. And wouldn't you know it, Will himself stepped in, took Bryce under his wing, and began mentoring him. The way Lee and Bryshere look at each other, you already know. You want to be a star? What you gonna do for me? And another user wrote, I'm sorry, but does anyone else feel like Lee Daniels knows this young man better than he should? Why do I feel uneasy watching this? Bryshere, you okay? Now, notice that second comment is from 8 years ago. So even back then, long before all the Diddy stuff went mainstream, before people in the industry started calling out these so-called mentorships with young men, fans were already picking up on the fact that something wasn't right. People could tell early on that the way these grown men were moving around Bryce just felt off. And now, Will Smith's former best friend and assistant has stepped forward and basically set the record straight about what Will actually did to Bryce. Just listen to this, y'all.
Bryshere Gray. So long story short, when I'm in Chicago, this guy's acting erratic. Like, I mean, crazy. He's getting stopped by the cops. There's male prostitutes involved. There's mental illness involved. There's use involved. And I'm really trying to see what happened to this guy. And one day he said, you know what happened. You know that Will R-worded me, or however y'all kind of say it on YouTube. You know that Diddy sucked me, and you know Charlie Mack made me suck his private part, right? And I'm like, whoa, this was a full admittance. And he's going, and I'm like, I didn't know anything. He's in the corner, balled up, snot, so much sweating and pain that blood is coming from his nose, right? And this is me and him in a conversation. And he was like, please don't tell him. Please don't tell him. Will admitted to me that he had sex with Bryshere Gray, but it was consensual, right? So I'm like, okay, so now it's starting to make sense, because I would have never believed that the way this guy's acting, something had to happen. So now, Will told me, and this is going to be in paperwork and everything, right? So when Will told me that he did have intercourse with Bryshere, he said Bryshere did ask him to stop. Will said he finished, completed the act, then stopped. Right then and there, When a person says stop, that means stop. Period. So I do believe that Will Smith sexually Bryshere Gray. Period. Charlie Mack and Will gets a lawyer for Bryshere, and they try to get me under NDA. I tell Will, I'm not signing. I don't even have an NDA with you. How am I getting an NDA with him? You understand what I'm saying? So I hire a lawyer, right? Mm-hmm. When I hire the lawyer, he comes back and say, listen, this is the best I can do. He said, I'm going to have y'all do a mutual NDA, meaning that Bryshere can't tell people that you know that Will and Diddy at him. And I want to say the R word, but I know we're on YouTube. Then you can't say nothing about him. So I said, okay, well, as long as he stopped telling people that I know what Will and Diddy did to him. You understand what I'm saying? Period. That was the problem. So there's legal paperwork, and it's all going to be, and you got to follow this case. All that's coming out in court.
And he says he knows all of this because Bryce personally explained it to him, revealing what Will and Diddy allegedly pressured him to do. Now reports are saying that everything involving Bryce was happening around the same time Jaden Smith decided to... Allegedly, Jaden wanted out because he couldn't handle what was going on anymore. He supposedly tried to help Bryce, but by then, Bryce was already too mentally unstable. And remember what Jaguar Wright said about Will and Jada's mentorship program? Yeah, it gets even darker.
People have collectively, including Will Smith, let's not leave him out. Why your son hates you? Why does your son hate you? Well, what did you do to Jaden?
Now, a lot of fans are starting to connect the dots, saying that if what Jaguar is hinting at is true, it could explain some of Jaden's unusual behavior. And let's be honest, both Jaden and Willow come across like they went through some pretty strange things at home. Of course, this is all speculation, but it definitely makes you pause and think, especially when you see moments like this. When it comes to Bryce, fans are saying the saddest part is that he genuinely seems too far gone, like he's deeply broken. Recent reports claim he's allegedly traumatized and refusing help. And instead of getting the support he needs, he's lashing out and becoming even more erratic.
Probably gonna kill me tonight, so if I do wind up on the news on TMZ, I was found dead.
On top of all that, Bryce recently launched an account where he's posting some pretty wild videos with men. And get this, he even leaked his own private video with a trans person. Yeah, it's a lot to process. So let me know how you feel about this theory that Bryce was allegedly victimized by older industry men, including Will Smith. And what about Jaden? Do you think there's something off about Will's dynamic with him? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video.